Hi, everybody. It's Sam Bennett from theorganizedartistcompany.com, and welcome to our little talk here about confidence and clarity. I am so excited that you're here. This was a little bit of a spontaneous last-minute idea on my part, so I appreciate your being excited about it too. I'm getting a question on the chat. Yes, Carol, sure. Yeah, just email me about that. But yes, the answer is yes for you. Yeah, so I want to start the way I want to start everything, which is just with a little bit of breathing, just to get us all into the same space at the same time. Like, I don't know about you guys, but my mind is kind of in 1,000 different places a lot of the time. So let's take this moment right now to be here in this moment right now. And in whatever way that's possible for you. I know some of you are calling in on the phone, some of you are on Facebook, some of you may still be at the office, some of you may be at home, some of you may have sleeping children or awake children. In whatever way it is possible for you to gather yourself and your concentration together, go ahead and do that now. Let your belly go really poochy soft. Soften your gaze. Give yourself a little Mona Lisa smile. Soften your hands. And maybe touch your hands. Let your hands touch your face or your chest, just to acknowledge yourself. This is you. There's only one of you. There's never been another one. There won't ever be another one. It's amazing that you're here. It's amazing that you've survived this long. It's amazing that you're here on this planet at this time and in this conversation with me. How rare, how beautiful, how exciting. And there's Leonore. Hi, Leonore.
Hi, how are you?
Great. Leonore, some of you may know Leonore is my head coach, team leader, right-hand girl, BFF,
bodyguard,
sister, wife, mother, friend.
like in Black Panther, like the ones with the spears, that is me with Samantha. Mm-hmm.
We might have to talk about Black Panther a bit later.
I think so, yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay. All right, so we were just about to do some breathing, and we were just talking about how amazing it is that we're all here together in this moment in time. So go ahead and loosen your belly, drop your shoulders down and back, and we're gonna inhale for 4. Oh, let me say this too. I have to keep my phone on because we might have to evacuate. Some of you know that I live in Carpinteria, California, which is right next to Montecito, California, which is where all the fires were and then all the mudslides and flooding. Mm-hmm. And there is rain scheduled for tonight, and so we are on evacuation alert. So my car is gassed, the bags are packed, the kitties' cages are ready to go. So if for some reason I get an alert, then Leonore will take over and I'll go drive to higher ground.
So we are all about creativity every day.
That's right.
Through all of life's vicissitudes.
That's right. We roll in the moment. Here. That's right. We just roll in the moment. So so we'll say a prayer to the rain gods that it's not so much that it rains, it's the velocity of the rain. Yeah. So it can rain, it just can't rain a lot in a short amount of time. That's all. That's what we need. All right, so breathing. Breathing, and maybe a little gratitude that you don't have to evacuate your house right now. You ready? We're gonna inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8, and we'll do that 3 times. And if you want to ignore it, that's fine with me. You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. Thank you for doing that with me. So I want to give you express permission during this call to doodle, to draw, to have feelings, to, this isn't like a sit and listen and be obedient kind of a call. This is a have an experience together kind of a call, and preferably a breakthrough. So I just wanted to say that out loud. And I know a lot of you, like me, you think better when your hands are busy. Hi, Mac. There's Mac. So you are here because you have a project and you are stuck. And I want to share with you some of what you guys said about what your projects were, because it kind of blew my mind. And if you want to type into the chat and tell me what your project is, we had Karen in New Zealand say she wanted to do some more art journaling and get more juicy and productive. Let's see. I could write my next book, create something or clear space to create something every day. I love this one. Scrape myself off the floor and create a possibility. Yes. I could grow more spirituality. I could quit my job, organize my retreat, draw more comics and improve my art style. I could record a song every week. I could write a delicious, sensuous book of poetry. Choose a project, work on it till it's done, and release it into the world and ask people to pay for it. Do those sound familiar? Does those sound like your projects? Carol says, I'm writing a novel. I'm just at the beginning, but the idea feels like it's landed. Yeah, so just on a really visceral level, when I hear about your projects, I want to see them. Like my response almost immediately is like, oh, I want to read that poetry. I want to hear that music. I want to read that novel. Like, where is it? Where is it? Right? So if part of what's standing in your way is your concern that like no one's going to care, I think Leonora and I can both raise our hands that we would care. We would like to see. We are curious about your work. Anne says she's deciding between revising a draft novel and starting a new one. Aha, we may be able to give you an answer on that today, Anne. Good, so you have a project and you're stuck on it. And I'm gonna guess that you have a little idea that if you weren't stuck on it, your life would be better. And I wanna tell you that that's true. That's true, and I can tell you that it's true because I've committed my life to this. Leonora's been with me for the last 5 or 6 years. She writes a poem every day. I do a prayer and meditation practice every day. She sings and writes music. I sing, I don't write music. I draw, she draws. We dance, we take classes in things we've never taken classes in before. We sign up for outrageous workshops and fly long distances to go to them. Like, we have filled our lives with creative fulfillment and created an entrepreneurial venture in which even the creation of this business is an art form. Like the writing I get to do for you guys in these emails, the books I get to write, the conversations I get to have, like my whole life feels like an art project. And I say that because I want you to know that it's possible. I'm not sure, I spent my whole life as an actor. I spent my whole life pursuing my creative pursuits, but I think there was part of me that never really believed it was possible. There's part of me that was always like, this isn't really gonna work. Or I'm gonna have to fight really hard. And I just wanna say out loud, it's totally possible. Yeah. So you've got this project, you're stuck on it, and you're stuck because, and this is the other thing that breaks my heart like forever and ever, amen. How do I get beyond believing the jokers who laugh at me?
Ooh, good question.
Right? Some level of me is buying into their joke. Some are family, and I can't turn my back on them, although I'd like to. How do I believe in myself more than believing in them? How do I decide what to do first? We had like 8 of those. Like, how do I know where to start? How do I make sure my focus stays on my creativity and goals? I know about priorities. but it doesn't always seem to happen, as if my creative time and energy is always the lowest priority. It's up to me and it's not getting done. What's the best way to turn my creative skills into a business? Oh, we had a bunch of these too. When it feels too hard or not worth the effort to me, when I can't muster up excitement, does that mean it's still not time for it to happen? The other ones that were like that are, is it normal to feel like a failure and not recognize anything good I've done? Maybe I'm just drained and depressed. This dreary winter has left me totally unmotivated. How do I get moving again? So a lot of, a lot of this same voices. So, and what I want to point out to you is, first of all, the fact that you feel depressed and like you can't recognize your things and like you feel like a big fat failure, that's no reason to not do your projects. And it's just not true. So everybody feels that way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if they say they don't feel that way, they're lying to you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, they're lying. So everybody feels that way. That's okay. You can still get your work done. So you have this project and you think you're stuck and you think it's your fault, right? You think it's your fault. You think you're not focused. You think you don't have the motivation. You think you're not good enough. You think nobody's going to care or nobody's going to pay for it. And you don't have the confidence. It's a low self-esteem thing. Somebody told you, stop right there. Because I want to tell you, it is not your fault. Let me just deliver this. It is not your fault. Other things may be your fault. This particular thing, the fact that you are not moving forward on your creative projects, that is not your fault. And one of the reasons it is not your fault is because no one ever taught you how to do it. No one ever taught you how to do it. They taught you how to read. They taught you how to write essays. They taught you how to, replace a carburetor. They taught you how to, set up an administrative meeting for a party of 12. But, they taught you all kinds of things. But nobody taught you how to navigate a creative project. Nobody taught you how to decide what to do. Nobody told you how to stay motivated. Nobody told you how to assess when to quit, if you should quit. Nobody told you what to charge. Nobody told you how to combat that feeling that you're a failure and not good enough. Nobody gives you that information because it's not really teachable. It's not really teachable. Like, they like to teach things that are teachable. They're like, here's a process. If you do it this way, it will work. But the creative process is not like that. There is not one way. And this is one of the reasons why I have trouble sometimes selling the Get It Done workshop, which we will talk about, by the way. I totally want you guys all in Get It Done. Because, they like to teach things that are knowable. Art is unknowable. And it's going to be different for each person, right? So this question of, I'm trying to decide which project, which book I should be writing right now, right? Between the draft and starting a new one. I'm trying to decide whether to start this business or go back to grad school. I'm trying to decide. There's no right answer. I don't know the answer to that. Nobody knows the answer to that except you. You know the answer. You know the answer. You just haven't been asked the right question yet. You've been asking the wrong questions, right? You've been asking the questions of like, why can't I get myself up off the floor? And why can't I be more motivated? And why don't I, when I whip myself incessantly about how shitty I am, why don't I feel better? Like, you're asking the wrong questions. So that's really what my work is about and what Get It Done is about. It's about framing questions and imagination games and exercises and weird little, I guess they're exercises, weird little games almost, so that you can hear the answer of your heart, so that you can hear what's real for you, all right? I want to check on the Facebook page and just make sure that people aren't asking me questions. Nope, looks good. There's Crystal. Hello. Excellent. So how is this all landing with you guys? Are you feeling this like, oh wait, maybe it's not my fault? Like, what does that feeling do for you? Where do you go when I say that? Where do you go, Leonore? I said, it's not your fault.
Just feeling, sorry.
The things you want that you don't have yet, the projects you are in your head but not in the world yet.
Yeah, it just makes me realize like how quickly we whip ourselves for feeling like it is our fault. And that's just such a deep, deep pattern for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. That idea that, well, this is a line of Byron Katie's where she says, violence always works for a while.
Mm.
And that sensation that, well, if I were just stricter with myself, if I were just harder on myself, if I just, didn't give myself so much wiggle room, like then I would, and it's like, you guys are like in a ROTC camp or something. And again, art does not respond well to yelling. Rhonda says it's awesome. Good, good. So, I called this little adventure we're on right now confidence and clarity, because that's what I hear from you guys that you're always looking for, right? I don't have my confidence. I don't have the clarity, right? Somebody says, that's exactly what I needed to hear. I'm an expert at blaming me. Thank you, Sam. Karen says, I pricked up my ears. I'm curious. Good, good. You should be. So what I hear from you guys all the time is I need confidence. I need clarity. I need a plan. I need discipline. How do I find the discipline? I need focus. I need, I need to know where to start. I need the definite starting point and the definite ending point, and I need to know that it's going to work all the way in between. And I need to stay motivated in the middle, and I can't slack off for a minute. And who do I think I am anyway? But, right? It sounds like a Successories poster, like those ones in the office of like, you need clarity and confidence, right? I'm like seeing like fluorescent lights and strict timed action plans. And again, the world likes you to believe that that's the way things get done, because that's teachable, that's knowable. If we reduce everybody's behavior to this, then everybody's doing the same thing and we'll all get the same result. But that's factory work. Art is not factory work. Your life is not factory work. Anne brings up a great point. She says, confidence and clarity may only come from taking action, but how do I get back into action after a setback or disruption? I'm going to answer that for you. Because again, this is this thing of blaming yourself. I've had a setback, I've had a disappointment, I've had a disruption. It's my job, like, I must be doing it wrong. How do I get back into action and discipline and focus and clarity, right? You see what I mean? Like, we keep holding this up like there's this some other version of ourselves that would be more, like, have their shit more together, and they would be getting it done, and we need to be more like that. And what I want to tell you is that's a lie. That's a movie that you're running inside of your mind. That's an imagination game that you're playing with yourself. And then in fact, the way for you to get it done is to become more yourself. More of your frailed, soft, animal, bruised, broken, disappointed, setback, disrupted self. And I realize that sounds weird, but just hang with me for a minute. Just hang with me for a minute. So if we drop this sort of corporate Successories, army, factory vision of how things get accomplished, and we start to sink more into ourselves, into the actual truth of your own personal self, think back to the last time you were really in a groove. Like last time you were really feeling yourself, and like maybe it was when you were working on a project and it was really flowing, but maybe it was a time, that you've fallen in love, or you had a great trip somewhere, or even just a beautiful afternoon with a friend. Like, what was that like? How did you feel? Like, when the last time you thought, oh, this is so me. Like, I love my life right now, even if it was just for a second. What did that feel like? Go ahead and type it into the chat, because I want to know what words you use to describe that feeling of like, yeah. Yeah.
Rhonda says counterintuitive or counterculture. She says, right, the answer is loving me more. In the zone, says Joanne. Mary says luscious, juicy. I like luscious, juicy. That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Crystal says everything felt possible.
Mm.
Alive 360. As if I were soaring. I was full of energy, open to all kinds of new experiences. Yeah, Keiko says it felt like flying.
Gosh, I'm getting chills, you guys. Like, I'm feeling that now. Are you feeling this?
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. I did it. In disbelief, I cried, says A. Yeah. That miracle. Oh my gosh, it happened. It worked. Yeah. I often have a sense of illumination when it's happening. Like, I feel like I start to glow a little bit, you know, when I'm really in my thing. And the cats can tell too. Like, my cats will often come and sit near me. They don't disturb me. They don't play the like knocking the pen out of mommy's hand game, which they will also do sometimes when I'm more distracted. But when I'm really focused and in the groove, they'll like, I feel like I'm glowing, and they'll come and sit by me like I'm a fire, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like being at the beach and never moving from it, says Christina. Jasmine says, it's like the energy waves of the universe swirl together and everything becomes in sync. Welcoming, giving, the sentences open my heart center, says Mary. Like extraordinary dancing, not the Elaine dance, but like freaking Baryshnikov.
Yeah, exactly. Good. So if that's what you feel like when you are truly in your element, when you are really in flow, when you are really getting it done, when you are really getting and giving maximum satisfaction from this moment of life, why on earth would you think that these ROTC factory concrete fluorescent light techniques would work for you? Like, why would you take something that feels like all the energy waves of the universe swirling together and ever becoming in sync and saying like, what I need is a plan. That's right, a plan. No, we need to cultivate this feeling. And you know what we call this feeling? See, Anne says, yeah, she feels the sense of illumination too, radiating light. We call this feeling has a name. The name is called desire. The name is called desire. That's what it feels when our desire is really functioning and we are able to meet our desire and have our desire be met. That's when we feel relaxed, we feel illuminated, we feel in flow, we feel like we can follow our impulses, we can trust ourselves to relax, we can trust ourselves to laugh, we can trust ourselves to get it wrong, we can trust ourselves to screw up and try again. It's like hot sex. You know, hot sex is not like, well, first you kiss her here, and then you kiss her here, and then you do this, and this is how we do it. Like, that's not what it's like. At least not in my experience, right? It's about relaxing into the moment and being who you really are, doing what really turns you on, and knowing that what really turns you on is really going to turn on your partner. Same thing. Now, Leonore actually has a background as a sexuality educator. So if you want to talk to her about desire, she's your girl.
We can get literal.
We'll keep it figuratively because it's a family show right now. But but say some more about what you know about what happens when people connect with their desire.
So I've been thinking lately about how so much of the time when we desire something really strongly, we make it all about that other thing, you know, or like we make it all about the person. And then it's like at some point, you know, that desire goes away and we're like, oh no, I've lost the magic. You know, like with our project, it's like we fall in love with the enchantment of the vision. And then when the doubting voices come in of like, oh, well, like how will I ever make money? And like, well, what's my mom going to think? And like, I can't really, who am I to do this? You all have those voices. I know you do. And then we lose that magic. And what I think we forget in that too is it's not just the desire for the thing that we feel, but it's actually who we become in the presence of that.
Exactly.
Like in the presence of that desire, I become really funny. I become really playful. I become really open in my heart. I become really juicy. I become really flirtatious. And like we lose our ability to dance with the world that way when we become so serious about things, whether it's about a relationship or about a project, I think. And one thing I love about your perspective, Sam, is like you really help people see those games, like the games they play with themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just imagining, as you're saying this, I'm just imagining like being at a party and seeing somebody really cute and attractive and like feeling like, oh, I want to go talk to that person. And then immediately, so it's like you have these ideas, right? You have an idea for a project or a book or a business or whatever, and you're like, oh, hello there, hi there. And like before you even get halfway across the room, you're like, yes, but is this the person you want to marry? And what if they say no? And you're too old and too fat. No one's really going to want you. And like, of course you get stuck.
Of course.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Just go flirt with it for a minute. Like, go see what happens. And Christina's got a question that's right on point. She says, it's tricky for me because I'm creative in a number of ways, and getting workable ideas that ties everything together is like nailing jelly to a tree. Christina, sweetheart, that makes you a creative person. I've never met a single disciplinary artist. Every artist I know, we have a million ideas every single day, and a lot of us have the skills and talents to do any number of them. So this like factory idea of like, well, you've got to pick one thing and be productive and tie it all together somehow. It already is tied together because it's already you, right? Dolores is saying she's loving this analogy and it really resonates. Good. So this thing of like, oh, I need to be more disciplined and more focused and I need a plan. No, you don't need more discipline. You need more desire.
Oh my God, can you say that again, please?
You do not need more discipline. You need more desire. Mm. And so you may be stuck because you may not really want it, right? You may be fixating, you may be punishing yourself for not moving forward an idea that you honestly don't really care that much about. Or like it seemed like a good idea at the beginning, but now you're bored and you're over it. That's fine. You don't have to marry every person you flirt with at the party. You're like, okay, that was an interesting flirtation. I'm over it, right? You're allowed to move on and find something that triggers your desire more. So if that's true for you, make a note to yourself about that. Like, oh, this is my parents' dream for me, or this is something somebody else said, or this is a big should voice in my head telling me that I'm supposed to do this or that or the other thing. I don't really, like when I think about it through the lens of desire, like does it light me up, illuminate me, make me feel like a day at the beach that's never gonna end? No. All right then. Cross it off the list. So move on.
And another reason why I love this analogy, Sam, is because we don't figure out our true loves by marrying the first people that we meet at the party.
Or by sitting at home alone imagining what it would be like to meet them.
Exactly. So when you put it this way, it's actually crazy how much pressure we put on ourselves to get it right with our projects, right? I mean, it's totally neurotic and crazy.
Yeah, you just got to show up and see where it starts to flow. And you know how it is, like you show up, it starts to flow, and then all of a sudden they say that they're from the same hometown as you. You're like, oh my God, it's destiny, or whatever, right? So we look for those signs of destiny. So if you're stuck, it's because, so if you don't need more discipline, you need more desire. If we look at this through the lens of desire, then either you don't really want it to begin with, which is totally fine, or you don't really want it anymore. It might have been a teenager's dream to be a rock and roll star or whatever, and you might go, oh, I get it that my 13-year-old self wanted that, or even that my 21-year-old self wanted that, but really I don't like staying up late anymore. Like, I'm not that into this, right? So you don't really want it. 2, you want it, but you don't want what you think the consequences are. You still want the thing, but you don't want what you think the consequences are of you getting it. So I want to start my own business, but I don't want my children to starve. I don't want to be irresponsible.
I want to start my own business, but I don't want to be judged by the public.
I want to get my work out there, but I don't want my mother to know the truth that I'm putting into this book.
Mm-hmm. I want to sell my paintings, but I don't want people to look at them and think, who does she think she is for charging that much?
Right. So this is an opportunity to investigate the truth for you of what the consequences might be, because some of you are imagining consequences that will 100% happen. I guarantee you, if you put your, work out there, somebody somewhere is going to think, who does she think she is? However, when I really think about that, because initially that thought gives me a cringe too, like, oh, I don't want them to think that I think I'm all that, but then I think, on the other hand, I know that not everybody thinks that. And I don't think it's my job to get to the end of my life going, whew, no one ever thought I was arrogant. Oh, thank God, I made it, success. Right? Like,
I'm so glad that I never did anything that made anyone uncomfortable ever.
Yeah. I made sure that everybody liked me 100% of the time. Oh, wait. Wait, that didn't work. Okay, so you're stuck because you don't want the thing to begin with, or you do want it, but you don't want the consequences. Or, and this one just makes me want to cry, you don't think you're allowed. You don't think you're allowed to want it. Mm-hmm. You don't think you have the training or the wherewithal. You don't think it's polite. Mm. You don't think it matches your family or your community.
This one really breaks my heart too, because the number of artists that are just hobbled by this, and the number of people who are just so held back in their sexual lives because they don't think they are allowed to want what they really want, is really heartbreaking to me. And all that, when I hear that, I just hear that, like, in both of these parts of your life, you're being led by your child parts who never got permission to want the things that they wanted.
Yeah. And now we're grown-ups and we get to be grown-ups to ourselves.
Yeah.
To say, honey, you're an adult now. You can have as many cookies before dinner as you want. You can trust yourself with your desire. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't want it if you couldn't do it. You wouldn't want it if you couldn't do it. You have the wherewithal. You really do. You can do this. You are okay. You've done a million things up to now. Things that nobody believed you could have done. Things you didn't even believe you could have done. But you've done it because you trusted yourself and you trusted your desire, and then you took some steps, and then you got some help from the universe, and somebody gave you some good advice, and you got a little lucky, and there you go. Your creative life is just like that too. It's just like that too. So if that's where you're at, then make a note about that, right? So, and maybe make some art about that. Maybe make some art about that. And you don't really want it. You want it, but you don't want the consequences. You don't think you're allowed to want it. And this is the one that I struggle with probably the most, is you've started to associate that desire with disappointment. You've wanted it so much for so long, and it's not happened, or almost happened, or kind of happened, but not really, so many times that it's like a hot stove reaction. You're like, I can't even think about wanting that.
Yeah, that one's interesting because that's where it gets into like the deep resentment zone too, wouldn't you say? That's where like the deep resentment comes up. And that's when I think about that quote. Oh, who is that from? I think it's a Gnostic quote. If you give birth to what's inside you, it will save you. If you do not give birth to what's inside you, it will destroy you. Yeah. And I think some of the most bitter and angry and twisted parts of us are the ones that we've been so tantalized by that desire, and then it's turned so much into disappointment that it's all gone there.
Exactly. And this thing you mentioned about resentment, this is the other place you get stuck, because you get mad, right? Like, well, I don't want to have to, go to a gallery, talk to a gallery owner again. That hurt me the last time I did it. I don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. And then you start resisting your own good because you are hurt and resentful. Mm-hmm. Right? And I'm not saying you have to go talk to a gallery owner, you have to go do the things that hurt your feelings. You may not. There may be some other way, but you get sort of stuck in that thing of like, well, I have to go there, but I don't want to go there, so I'm not going to go there. But I want to go there, but I don't want to go there.
It's so true. It's like, if you really scrutinize that, it's actually true that underneath like the resentment and like the victim feeling of it, you know, the universe is probably coming at you with these opportunities of people who want to help you, or opportunities that are there, and you're like batting them away, like, no, no.
What I call, no, get that money away from me.
Exactly.
No, get that opportunity away from me. Swatting money.
It's really funny, actually.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, I'm reminded of Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love, which changed my life. I'm sure it changed yours too. And she talks about a conversation with a therapist, I think, where she was saying, or the therapist was saying, but something about that line about how there's just no good men. There's no good men out there. You know, they're all gay or married or not available or whatever. There's no good men. And the therapist said, yes, when I hear women say that, underneath is usually a deep resentment of men. There's usually deep resentment. I heard that, I was like, oh my God. And so that, and I think it's the same thing when you're like, well, nobody sells novels anymore. Like, you can't make a living doing that. You can't, you know, that's not possible. I can't quit my job as a lawyer and become a soul intuitive. Nobody does that. Like, that's resentment.
Right. And I'd say what's underneath the resentment is actually someone who's very deeply romantic.
Yes.
Because you wouldn't be so resentful if you didn't want it so much, right? And you wouldn't care, you wouldn't be so bitter about the project if you didn't care so much about the project. And actually, you wouldn't care so much about the project if you didn't completely have the ability to birth the project in the most amazing way.
Yeah. So you can guess where we're all going with this. We want to help you with this, right? We want to help you with your desire. We want to help you birth the project of your desire in a natural, fun, lit up, swirling, illuminated, all day at the beach, Baryshnikov way, right? And for you to get the results that you want, the things you actually desire, right? Some of you want a 6-figure publishing deal. Fantastic. You can have that. Some of you want to write a song every day. Some of you just want to clear off your desk, for God's sake, and see what color the top of the desk is again. And that is okay. Like, all of these things are fine. We want you to have the success that is meaningful to you. So Get It Done workshop, if you want to see it, you can go to monstergetitdone.com, which is, whoops, that's not it. There it is. Monster, like Cookie Monster, getitdone.com. And it starts tomorrow. So, like, this is the moment to jump in. But it's not it's you know, some of you may be getting emails for B-School right now. Marie Forleo opens up her B-School once or twice a year. And Marie's great, and B-School's great. I'm not trying to rag on them at all. But I've never talked to anybody who's actually finished her program. Because most of the people I know are creatives, and her program is kind of a step-by-step. I mean, she's creative too, and she nurtures other people's creativity, but it's like, now you do your website, now you do your social media plan, now you do this, now you do that. It's a lot of like assignments and a lot of, you know, sort of step-by-step, which, again, if that's really what you need, then go get that. But my guess is that's not really what you need. If you were here, Sonia says, wait, the desk has a top? Yes, the desk has a top. That's really funny. So this is really, like I said, this is about us teaching, not teaching you a way to do things, it's teaching you a way to tap into your deep knowing so that you are always doing the right things. You know where to start. You know what decisions to make. You know if it's the right time. You know what opportunities to follow and which ones not to. And you can tell the difference between when it's really not right for you and when you are just putting a glass ceiling on yourself because you're afraid. And what to do about that. Because the answer for how Sonia handles that is different from the answer to how Jaslyn handles that. Is different from how Leonore handles it, is different from how I handle it. So it's not about me giving you a system, it's about me giving you a system to create your own system. Mm-hmm. It's about wisdom. It's not about knowledge, it's about wisdom. And it's wisdom you already have. We're just opening you up to the wisdom you already have. And that's why people love Get It Done so much. And it's why they come back and do it year after year after year after year, right? It's 6 sessions. It starts tomorrow. It's $365. It's $1 a day for your project. $1 a day. And I recommend 15 minutes a day on your project. I think you all have $1 and I think you all have 15 minutes. I'm just saying. And we do look at project management and development through both a practical lens and an internal lens, right? We do talk about which project to pick and how to do that, how to know. We talk about how to create a project plan that really vibes with you, that feels good to you, that doesn't feel like some regimented thing, but feels like, ooh, that feels fun. I would like to do that. We talk about how to break through those inner barriers to success. You get the Ask Sam Anything calls, so you can ask me anything. We even talk about like self-promotion, like how do you market and sell the work that is most significant and important to you. You get a bunch of bonuses. You get the How to Make $1,000 webinar, which I have to tell you is magic. If you are interested in making $1,000 in the next 2 or 3 weeks, this webinar will get you there with everything you've got going on right now. You could listen, if you enroll right now, you'll get it in the next email, you'll get it right away. You can listen to it tonight and have a plan before we start, even tomorrow morning. That's how amazing this webinar is. It's like fairy dust, it's amazing. Oh, you get the Writer's and Artist's Guide to Platform Building, which is a brand new big training that I did recently. So it's fresh and juicy. You get a year in the 365 Club. You get a bunch of other bonuses too. You get a bunch of books. I don't know. You get all kinds of things. $365, 3 payments of $141, or just for today and tomorrow, we brought back the 10 pay, so you can get started for $42. That's right. You can pay me $42 every month for the next 10 months. I don't care. It's totally fine. I know you're good for it. And I remember when $42 was a significant part of my budget. So I never want somebody to do it just because they feel like they can't afford it. You know, if you really can't afford $42, then you should deal with that. You're having rent and grocery issues and that's a crisis and you should deal with that. But I think for most of us, $42 is in the realm of possible. And satisfaction guaranteed or your money cheerfully refunded. Satisfaction guaranteed or your tuition cheerfully refunded, which is something I can offer because I've been teaching this class for 18 years and I think I've given 8 refunds in 18 years. And one of them was from a woman who, she wrote me back. She wanted her money back. And I think it was because she was getting divorced and she decided like, oh wait, I think I can get $365 from Sam. So I sent it to her because, you know, it's no questions asked, right? She wanted a refund, fine, here's your refund. And then she writes me again telling me how great the class was and how much she got out of it. And I was like, sister, you are working out some bad karma. Don't be like that. But whatever, it's fine, it's fine. So yeah, so I feel totally confident offering you that because nobody ever takes me up on it. Here's something I wrote down recently. Self-doubt is the #1 killer of dreams. Self-doubt is the #1 killer of dreams. Mary says she did the How to Make $1,000 webinar a week or so ago, and a project was immediately born, which has been growing in conception every day since.
Woo! Go Mary!
Boom! Excellent, Mary. Excellent. I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled. Yeah. So yeah, self-doubt is the #1 killer of dreams. What else do I have here? Sex, natural, no right way, fun, enjoy the journey. This is my PowerPoint. Yeah, it's right in front of you. The life you want, the change you want, all these questions you have about like, how do I motivate myself? How do I make myself do it? I know I should get up, have more energy, do more things. It's right in front of you. It's not a big change you have to make. It's a little change. It's a little 1 degree shift. It's that shift from where we were at the beginning where you're like, I don't know which book to pick, to 10 minutes later when you were like, juicy, lit up, amazing, awake, right? That's the shift. That's the shift. You don't have to cut out gluten or, you know, move to Provence or get an MFA. You just have to change where you're coming from.
Mm.
But nobody ever taught you to do that, and it takes discipline. Like, you know, like it'll pop like a bubble. So this is why you get a community of support, right? You get some guidance, you get some structure to do that. So yeah, so that's my invitation to you. That's my invitation to you. Somebody's actually chatting with me on the website now. They want to chat about the workshop. So I'm chat right now.
Okay, Sam's in chat. I have something I want to say too.
Yeah, good. Go for it.
Okay, so what I wanted to say is, I know what you're probably thinking, which is, well, why can't I just talk to other people about this and figure it out on my own? And the thing that I want to say, because I am also in the process of birthing my own creative project right now, so I'm right there with you in all of the neurosis and delusion. And what I want to say is that talking to other people does not help. Because when you talk to other people, either they don't get it and they want to talk you out of it because something about the thing you're innovating threatens them in a way that feels like it's going to take you away from them. So they try to shut it down in a way that's like subconsciously well-meaning, but like throwing a wet blanket on top of your project, which is not what you need. Or they get really excited and they want to give you advice. And here's why you need to be wary of advice. Because by nature of you being a creative person, you need to be tapped into your own inner world in order to bring that thing out of you, and you need to do it your own way. And as soon as you start hearing how other people have done it and their frameworks and their tips and like their disciplines that they're offering to you with so much excitement, it shuts that down in you because it starts feeling like you need to do it their way. And what I really love about Sam's whole thing, and that I think is actually really rare, I haven't really found anyone else who really gets this on this level, is that it's just what she said before, you don't need to be more like other people who have done it, you need to be more like you.
Yeah,
exactly. And that is not something you can learn from adopting someone else's framework. So I just really want you to get like how much this class is really a deep dive into awakening and reawakening your own desire and learning how to really stoke that and guard that and like give yourself permission. And sometimes you need people like me and Sam being there with you, giving you the permission. But that's really what we're doing here. And the other thing that I hear from people is, I know what I need to do. I just need to make myself do it. And as soon as I hear that, I'm like, oh my God, they're stuck. Sam, like they're stuck. I don't know how to help them because they're stuck. And to me, that's such a sign of like, I'm stuck and I don't know how to get out of it. That's like, you're looking at the snake in the corner and I'm like, I don't know how to get you to see that this is really just a rope. You don't need to just make yourself do it. You need to drop the whip and come back to your own desire.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You'll be happy to know I just got an alert from Santa Barbara County that no evacuations are anticipated for the Monday-Tuesday storm at this time.
Ooh, okay, good.
We're safe at home. Good. Do you guys have any questions for us about where you're at, about your projects, about the Get It Done workshop, about, I don't know, anything? We're here, so we're yours. I'm curious where you're at. Yeah, good. Go. Mary says she's got a question. Go ahead. Jocelyn says, huzzah! Does anyone say that anymore? Absolutely. We certainly say it here. Good. When are the 6 sessions? Great question. They're every Tuesday at noon Pacific time, starting tomorrow. But you can get, what am I saying? But they're all recorded and you have lifetime access to them. So I've noticed that probably about 40% probably of the people who enroll and Get It Done are on the calls live, and probably about 60% end up watching them later that day or the next day. And because you also get access to this private Facebook page, the 365 Club, there's plenty of room for you to ask questions. You can also email me, you can email Leonore, you know, and we're on that Facebook page a lot answering questions, so you can jump in and get the help you need. And if you want an accountability buddy to watch those videos with, you can do that. Mm-hmm. But they're every Tuesday for the next 6 weeks at noon Pacific time. There's also, because you also get the 365 Club, which is a full year of daily emails, support, free stuff, and a monthly call with me, which is the third Thursday of every month. It's an open Ask Sam Anything Q&A call. Because I know that, like, sure, I'm going to give you a ton of tools and information in these 6 sessions, but your project's going to roll out over time. And it's really easy to forget or lose track, or you actually get to a new level. And you know what they say? New level, new devil. Which means, you know, you start to have different problems than the problems you've had before, right? So I really wanted to make that year-long support available to you so that you knew what was happening. And here's Chester, who's come to say hello. Do you have problems procrastinating, Chester? I don't think so.
Sam, there's a really good question here from Anne, and I want to speak to this. She says, can you really help us reconnect to our desire? Because mine is MIA. What do you say to people who feel like their desire is just gone?
Yeah, it's not gone. It's just hiding. It's hiding like under a blanket in the back corner of the back closet because it doesn't think it's safe.
Mm-hmm.
So we just need to find the ways that that you can feel safe and to connect with your desire in a very non-threatening way. You know, I remember for a long time I felt like if I really let everybody know who I was, if I really let everybody know how much I wanted the things that I wanted, that I would be a monster. Like my vision was like me, like King Kong on the top of the building. Like I would just like wreak destruction everywhere. And I was afraid that my own desire, the strength of that would overpower me.
Yeah, and that goes back to the I'm too much thing, which we all also, probably all of us here on this call got as kids, right?
Yeah, you're too dramatic. You're so too much. You want too much. Calm down.
You're too emotional.
So sensitive.
So sensitive.
Yeah. So, so we've got some very simple techniques to just start to break that through. I will give you one like quick one right now, just as a little sample platter, which is to ask yourself, when you're feeling disconnected from your desire, ask yourself the question, how could I be more me in this moment? How could I be even just 1% more me? Just show up just a 1% more authentically, more fully in this moment right here, in watching this webinar with Leonore and Sam. Like, what could I do that would just make me lean in or plug in or light up just an eensy bit more? And if you ask yourself that question enough times during the day, you will find yourself starting to spark a little bit. You'll find yourself starting to, and it may mean that being 1% more you means that you fall back a little bit. Maybe you're a little more shy. Maybe you've trained yourself to be very forward and helpful. But maybe being your actual self is like, actually, if I were going to be 10% more me, I would lean back a little bit. If I were going to be 10% more me, I might make a joke right now. Or how would I make this outfit more me? Or how would I make this meal more me? Or how would I make this doodle more me? Like, just lean in just a little bit more. Leonore's asking me a question and the answer is yes, and I'll tell you more about that when I turn off the recording. So we have a special, since you guys are here in person, we have a special something for you. I'm not sure if we're going to even release this recording, so it may not matter. But so if you're interested in Get It Done and you would like a little special something, hang on until after I turn off the recording. Joanne's.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's speak to that desire thing too, just really quickly. I've worked with people super deeply in desire, like on the erotic level too. Everyone from people who've like never had the relationship they wanted, been married for 20 years, like all kinds of different life stories. And what I found that even if you really feel like your desire is like gone, long gone, it's not so much like going after it and forcing it to happen. Mary, you kind of just, this kind of ties into your question too. It's not even so much like going in and hunting for it and making it happen, but I found that most of the work is actually getting rid of the things that get in the way. So it's not like forcing the desire to come back, but letting go of the fear of disappointment, or letting go of the fear of who you need to be for it to happen, like letting go of the overthinking, letting go of the perfectionism. And then once you've just like worked with those things enough, the desire naturally, authentically arises, and often sooner than you think it will be. Because I think as people, this is such a core part of our humanity. This is like, that's who we really are at our core.
Yeah, and I think it does come easier for some people than others. Some people have a real natural delight in the world. Some people have a real freedom around asking for what they want, and I really admire those people so much because I am not one of them. Do you remember that there's an internet video that went around for a while of basically a woman who just got the giggles? She bought herself a Chewbacca mask and then she just got the giggles. And this whole video is her just laughing hysterically. It's the most charming thing ever. And I was watching it going like, I don't think I've ever been that delighted by anything. I feel like suddenly I'm missing something in my life because I don't think I've ever laughed that hard. So for some of us, it's a little trickier. It's the tendency to intellectualize the whatever early training you got about, don't feel that way, don't touch yourself there, you're not allowed to be that way or want that. It requires some delicate handling, but you guys are really good at this stuff too. Like, this is not your first self-help rodeo. So I think you'll find that with just a few of the exercises and questions and things, you'll start to uncover the answers to these questions. Good. Let's see. There's some other questions here. Joanne saying, what's the name of the How to Make $1,000 course? And again, and where is the link? It's a bonus for Get It Done. So when I do sell it, I think for $500 occasionally, I'll release that. I don't think it's even on the website right now as available to purchase, but if you enroll in Get It Done workshop, then you get it in the email saying, yay, you've enrolled and here's your bonuses. Sonia says, Sam, I have a serious question regarding not being able to manage most of the course just now. MS nonsense. I'm so sorry, Sonia. MS sucks. But I would like to get started, hence my registration deliberation for weeks now. I really believe that I'll want and need to be part of the live seminars, as I've learned from the Friday sessions. Is it possible to repeat portions if need be on your next session? And yes, you've mentioned you can't confirm next scheduled session, so a teeny risk here. So we could certainly talk about that. If you enroll and find that you really just can't participate, that your medical needs are just in the way, then yeah, we would refund your tuition and then you could enroll again next time, whenever next time is. I don't have any plans to do it again in 2018 for sure. I think early 2019 would be the earliest that I would do it. So.
But also know that you get the recordings and you get the recordings forever. So you'll be able to watch that and go back to it anytime too.
And and that's good, not only just for Sonia, but for all of you, because one of the reasons that alumni repeat this class over and over again is because it's so many questions and exercises and imagination games and things to stimulate your own internal wisdom and your own internal answers. It's different every time. It's different every time. It's not like learning French and like, okay, we're going to review the conjugated verbs now. It's not, and there's not a lot of assignments or homework. It's not like that. You get to figure out what you figure out. Joanne says, I don't know if this is appropriate to ask. Of course it is, whatever it is. I think my issue is that I need to get to sleep early and get up early in order for me to make my dreams come true. I've been trying to do this forever. At 8:30 or 9 p.m., I always want to do more and I sabotage. Is there any way this course can help with this? Sure. Yeah, I can help with that right now. Actually, I'll give you this one for free, Joanne. If you have been trying to not work at the time when your creative spirit most wants to work, then that will definitely keep you stuck. So lots of people get big creative surges around 8:30 or 9 at night. Mine tend to happen more around the 4 or 5 in the morning time. It's different for different people and it's different at different times and phases of your life. You may need to do a little restructuring of your time and your schedule to accommodate that, because then sometimes you're up until 2 in the morning and then that makes it hard to get up at 7 to go to work. But sometimes that's just what it is, So quit fighting it, babe. Quit fighting it. Good. Yeah, we talk about all kinds of self-sabotage, it's true. Good. Any other questions, thoughts, anything that's happening? Anything you're wondering about? All right, then Sonia says a bit more comfort there. Yeah, like I said, satisfaction guaranteed or your money cheerfully refunded. If this isn't working, if you try this and it's not working for you, first of all, you can keep all the bonuses. That's my present to you. And, you know, we'll do it another, I'll give you your money back. We'll do it another time. Like, it's not that big a deal, right? I know some teachers are like, they have to sign a contract and they have to prove to me that they've done all their homework and I have to attend every session and then I can give my, and I'm like, I'm not your mom. Like, if I haven't helped you, I don't want your money. So, and it's $365. Like, it's not that big a deal. Good. So, anything else? All right. So this is what we're focusing on, right? We're gonna make that 1 degree shift from ROTC, factory, concrete, and fluorescent to juicy, warm, beach, Baryshnikov, illumination, trees, rocks, chocolate cake. Right? That's the 1 degree switch that we're making. And we're going to start focusing on desire. And if that feels hard, diving into that question. Where am I stopping my desire? Why? What am I afraid of? What do I think might happen? You know, do I really want this? Maybe I don't. Maybe I do, but I'm afraid of the consequences. Maybe I have just been burned too many times. Like, that's where the juice is. That's where the answer is. It's not in, I need a better date book or a better system or a better alarm clock or a better boss or a better, that's not it. That's not it. All right. Okay, I'm going to turn off the recording and tell you guys who are here live a special something. For those of you who are watching the recording, if we even decide to release it, thank you much for being here. Go to monstergetitdone.com and sign up right now. For those of you who are on Facebook, you will also be cut off, I think, at this point. So if you want to know what's going on, you can email Leonore or me at, there's my email. And I'll tell you the little bonus. Okay, this is great. You guys are great. Your art matters. Your work matters. Nothing is more important than your creativity. This is who God made you to be. You are not kidding yourself. This is not you thinking you're some super special, like more special than everybody else. Everybody's special. You're just special in this way. And the way in which you're special is that you have got to get your creative juices out into the world. You have got to get your creative voice out into the world. You would not have the desire if you did not have the ability. You would not have the desire if the opportunity to do it were not there. You are ready. You are so ready. You are so long past ready. I can't even tell you. You're practically overcooked. You're so ready, right? You wouldn't be here if you weren't ready. You would never even have heard of me if you weren't ready. And this is something just to try and experiment with a little bit, something that nobody ever told you and that you really need to hear, which is you're fine and your creativity matters. You can do this. I know you can do it. So thank you for being here, and we'll see you and get it done. I'm turning off the recording, and now